So we are ready. Mandy McEwen is our digital marketing manager. She specializes in social media marketing, and we contracted her to help with our financial advisors as we get them started in the federal program. For those that have licensed regions of the country exclusively, they also have the opportunity to work with Mandy in getting their Fed resource, Twitter feeds, LinkedIn for business and the federal space, Facebook. Am I missing something?
Twitter.
Twitter. Yeah, Twitter. And other social media tools. So Mandy's an expert at that. In addition, she's going to talk to you about what you can do with your financial planning practices and your websites to attract inbound customers and get your name brand out there. That's a service that she provides separately through her Mod Girl marketing business. So with that being said, I'm going to turn it over to you, Mandy. And once again, if everybody can go to mute or listen only, that'll be helpful in regards to minimizing feedback. So take it away.
Okay. So basically, Jeff pretty much covered the intro part, but I kind of just wanted to go over what we've done so far for the main Fed Resource brand and what we plan to do and how we can do the same type of thing for your financial business as well as in the federal space to try to increase your brand awareness via the social media channels. Get your name out there more and to attract more business. So you can go on to the next slide, Jeff. You can keep going too. So some of the, there's a lot on here, so I'm not going to read every single slide. But basically the beginning just goes over how important social media is, and as you know, it's not going anywhere. It's booming, and if you're not on social media, you're definitely missing out because that's where everyone is. So you can keep clicking. You can just read these stats as we go through here. So yeah, basically, it's just the old school days of marketing are not 100% coming to an end, but pretty close. Everything's really shifting to the digital world. And with that said, it's not just Google and the search engines anymore. It's really social media. So you need to be covering every digital aspect out there in order to maximize your awareness on these digital channels. You can keep clicking. I don't know why all those little arrows have to do that. And again, this is just talking about, obviously the stat's a little old, but in 2011 there was $4.26 billion were spent just on social media. And obviously that's getting higher and higher every year as brands are seeing the importance of marketing themselves on these social media channels. And so again, these are just some stats for you, just showing how many active users there are across these channels. People spend lots and lots of time on social media. And as it shows here, lots of companies have, the reason that they are continuing their social media marketing is because they're seeing results. So 70% have acquired a customer through Facebook. And obviously these stats are changing all the time. But for the most part, when you're strategically marketing via social media channels, you're going to see results, period, because your market is hanging out there. So you just have to find ways to connect with them and get in front of them. You can keep going. You can keep going, too. So yeah, the cool thing about social media is once you get it down, it's it has a pretty big ROI because It really is just, your time, and then you could do the advertising. But when it comes down to it, as far as setting it up and getting content out there, it's a lot more affordable than a lot of these other old school advertising methods, especially if you do it right. You're going to see the benefits pretty quickly. And with that said, by doing it right, you kind of just need to know your target market, which for you all is pretty clear-cut since you are all covering regions and you're providing these financial planning services to clients, and in particular the federal employees. So that part you pretty much have down, your target market. So then you just kind of need to figure out which one to spend most of your time on, making sure that all of your social media accounts are up to date, they have a professional image for you, the information is correct, and you just need to make sure that you're maintaining it. So when people, send you a message or send you an inquiry, that you're keeping up with that and responding in a timely fashion. And then, of course, the more that you utilize it and put content out there, the more you're going to get your name out there and generate new clients.
One thing I'd like to point out that we've noticed in our efforts to really brand ourselves as, the new marketing company for federal employees. Federal employees in the federal marketplace is probably 5+ years behind the private sector, which means that I think one reason our email marketing and posts that we have on different message boards has been successful because, it's not cluttered yet. What I mean by that is there's not a lot of other entities that are doing what we're doing, and I think the fact that the government is really so regulated and have so many rules and guidelines and agencies that they really they're not streamlined, so it allows us to do what we do. And the bottom line, the federal employees are now reaching out to us, which is what we refer to as inbound marketing, and that's something that's not normally seen in the financial advisory world. So again, that's the big reason why we contracted Mandy to help, because it definitely exists in the federal space. So I wanted to mention that when the word revenues came up.
Yeah, and he's right. I mean, just from what we've done so far, there isn't a whole lot of competition doing what we are doing. So when you're putting this content out there and they're seeing you and FedResource and your personal areas that you're servicing, they see you putting out this content, and as the expert for federal employees, they're going to come to you because no one else is doing that. So, it's not like you're even going out there and hounding these employees like, hey, call me. They're going to find you just from what we are doing with social media, which is inbound marketing, which is what Jeff mentioned. So this is just, obviously social media is all about the people, so that's why, you do need to, get out there and brand yourself as the expert. What you're talking about, you can help them, you have the solutions and the education for them, and this is what you're going to do. And engagement basically is, that's how you build your brand, making sure that you're responding to any inquiries, you're providing good content, and all that good stuff. This is what we are doing with the FedResource brand. And this just basically goes to what we were just talking about the competition. So, the more you are out there and the more channels you are utilizing, the more you're going to be light years ahead of your competition because they're not doing it. And this is kind of where we help you out since we are the experts. So we make sure that everything is set up and optimized properly for maximum conversions. And, you know, depending on how much you get into it, I mean, you can do as little or as much as you want. I mean, there's tools we use to optimize what channels are generating the most traffic, the most inquiries to your business, focusing on those more, putting out more content, and all that good stuff. I mean, it's really endless optimization and measuring because there's just so much that you could be doing. So this is just a screenshot of what we've done. We're in the beginning stages of the Fed resource social media marketing. So these are the channels that we've set up. So as you can see, Facebook is in the left, Google+, YouTube, Twitter, and LinkedIn. So these are the channels that we can set up for you, and they will look kind of in a similar fashion, and we can go over that here in a second. But basically, you know, we can use your headshot as the profile image where you see the flag, the logo now. So that would be your headshot, and then the info below would be your information as well, as, you know, combined with the Fed resource information, but it's going to be in your local area. So the title is going to be whatever we come up with, and then your local area. So they know specifically what geographical area that you're servicing. It's going to be a little bit different for everyone, depending on how long the area is lengthwise. Okay, so these are just some other Facebook facts about how much time people spend, number of pages. Oh, upside down. Nice.
It must be a very important number.
I know, right? And these are just going over some stats of ages. And actually, the fastest growing segment on Facebook right now is those that are 35 plus. Actually, I think it was like 45 plus now. It changes regularly, but the most recent I think I read was the 45 plus is the fastest growing user base on Facebook. Young people don't really think Facebook is cool anymore because of Snapchat and Instagram, and their parents are on it, and their grandparents are on it. So actually the older, as in older, I don't mean too old, but you know what I mean, not like 12-year-olds. So, you know, 40 plus, they're actually more active and growing on Facebook than the younger generation, which is great for businesses, especially ones like yours, because your target market is on there. And the cool thing about Facebook is even if you aren't super active, just having your business name and having a page and a professional image, I mean, people can still find you. I mean, people use Facebook as a search engine. Actually, they use every single social media, Twitter, Facebook, all of those, YouTube. They use it as they would Google. So just by having your name on Facebook with your page set up properly, with your company information, with your local area, I mean, just that alone is going to be helpful because people, you know, like I said, sometimes they use that as their search engine because they're on Facebook all day, every day. But obviously, the more you post, the better off you are going to be. So those are just a few of things that Facebook allows you to do. This is the Fed resource page, Facebook page that we set up.
Why do I only have 3 likes? Shouldn't I have like...
Because it's new.
All right.
That's why. That's why I said we are in
hundreds.
the beginning stages.
Okay. I think that's probably all family members that have liked it.
A whopping 3.
3.
Actually, I think you might have 4 now.
Okay.
So this is kind of what you want to go ahead.
No, this is what we're now getting into examples of how your Fed resource region would be set up. So Mandy pointed
Correct.
out we, have your best photo available. not one from like 1976. We're trying to create an image here, so I've seen some of your photos, so you might want to get an upgrade. And then city or area, just depending on where you're at. If you're in a rural area, then, northwestern Ohio, something like that. But for the major cities, then we'll be able to put your specific city and, drive traffic to each of you. But as Mandy said, it's very important to have your presence out there because people do use it. We've had people ask us, are you on Facebook and where can I find information? And, they are using it as a search engine now. And the content, do you want to go into that a little bit about the content that'll be on their page?
Yeah, so what we can do is, so you don't have to, you don't have to worry about having zero content on there. Obviously, we encourage you to post your own content as much as you can, but what we will do to help you along the way is post the blog post from the main Fed resource site across your social media channels. So, you can see how, and we can go over this later if you want, but on Jeff's Facebook page now, on the main Fed resource, you will see his blog feeds that are coming through on that. So we can set that up for you as well. So every time that a blog is posted on the main Fed resource blog, it will send out to your social media channels, including Facebook. So it will be posted on your page, which is helpful because all of these posts that are posted on the blog post are in the federal arena, and they're just, helpful articles that your potential clients will like to read.
Yeah, let me give you an example of that. Today, we're going to post the Office of Personnel Management, which is the HR agency of the government, is falling way behind again on processing retirement applications. They're backlogged, and, they were trying to spin it as they were getting caught up. But the stats came out for November, and they're like 14,000 in the hole. So, that really connects with federal employees, especially those close to retirement, because they're thinking, oh, my God, how long is it going to take for me to get my retirement application processed and get out? And so when that's delivered immediately through your channels and federal employees pick up on that, they're obviously going to reach out to you, and you're going to be viewed as the expert to help them with this because there's a lot of concern there. So that's one example, and you guys don't have to do anything. It's right there for you.
And on that note, too, when we're talking about using it as a search engine, so those posts that are posting to your page from the Fed Resource blog they actually post quite a bit from the feed, not just the title. And so those words are coming up, too. So if people type in anything, related to that, your page is going to come up in the list. And you're not even doing anything. So that's pretty cool. Especially, even if they are in the local area, all of these social media sites in Google, everyone's so geo-localized now. So they're going to show listings in people's local areas before they are national listings. So, if someone in your city is typing in stuff related to what you have posted, yours is going to show up first above, say a national brand in a different city.
And on that note, again, for those of you in your business, if you don't have Facebook, you may want to get with Mandy. This is separate from the Fed Resource marketing, but you may want to get with her to help you get established with your company name, too. That's what she does. So I deal with a lot of advisors. They don't have Facebook. They don't have LinkedIn for their business, and they're missing out on opportunities because, as Mandy pointed out, my age group, which, the 40s are now the new 30s, by the way, we're the biggest demographic of using social media tools now, and that's the target market for everything the financial advisory world does. So make sure that you focus on creating these types of strategies, too. Oh, my favorite.
Okay, so this is just getting into Twitter, which is also a very popular social media site. You can keep going. These are just some bullet points about what Twitter is if you aren't familiar with it. And here is the Fed Resource Twitter page, which is updated quite regularly.
Yeah. Twitter is a great tool. I mean, you can pick up, we've got a lot of, I wouldn't say a lot yet, but picking up a couple federal employees a week. And they're starting to interact. And you may want to explain retweeted, and we've actually had a couple federal employee requests off the Twitter feed. So we put our link up there for the benefit analysis, and that's something that we can create a feed for them too, right? If they have the...
Yes, so what we can do, because the Fed Resource Twitter account is updated frequently, that is going to help you all out, because we can also set it up to where, and again, I'm encouraging you to all post your own post as well, but in order to have content where you don't have to worry about it, we can retweet what on your page, what is tweeted on the main Fed Resource page, so you have content out there as well. So it's just basically reposting what we have on the Fed Resource page, which is obviously all pertaining to your industry. So it's just another way to get your name out there and your business out there. And nowhere, I mean, people are definitely using Twitter more so than Facebook in terms of searching for what's hot, what's going on in their market. I personally enjoy marketing on Twitter a lot better than most of the channels, because there's the opportunity there is just so huge, and it's not really a private space. You know how people think you're kind of weird if you're connecting with strangers on Facebook, personal Facebook, and personal LinkedIn, whereas Twitter it's very public. Everyone, it's kind of a community in that sense too. Is even though you are strangers, they're connecting with people, and you kind of feel like a sense of community, even though you have no idea who these people are. But it's not weird to connect with them. So that's what's so cool about Twitter is, when you're posting this information, and like Jeff said, the federal employees are seeing it. And again, it's just branding yourself as experts, and they want to reach out and they want to retweet your stuff because you're helping them and you're producing helpful content. So that's the neat thing about Twitter is that even though you don't know these people, they don't feel weird for connecting with you, because that's what Twitter is all about.
Right.
So it's a really, really good tool.
And also, at least I've noticed that the world has a very short attention span now. So they want something quick. And so, for example, on the article that we're going to post on our blog, that'll also feed over to the Fed Resource Twitter feed, and it'll just be a blurb: retirement backlog at record high, and so they'll know exactly what that is, and then there'll be a link that they can click on right there on their iPhone or on the computer. They'll take them right to the article. So it's really quick, and that's what people want now, because they're just slammed with so much information that Twitter can get them to what they need very quickly. I mean, I don't even watch the news anymore because my Twitter feed alerts me of anything that's going on in real time, and the main media outlets are behind the consumer, which is crazy. So I just wanted to point that out. I think that's why it's been effective for us up to this point. We can do a lot more with it, but you'll have access to all these feeds and articles that will be forwarded to your Twitter feed.
And another thing that's cool about Twitter in terms of branding is they pick up, all of these social media and just every website in general that's huge and has users, it's all about the user and what they're going to like. So, say there's a federal employee on Twitter that's somewhat active in your area, and in their profile, somehow they mention that they're an employee of XYZ, and if they're following these federal Twitter accounts, it's going to pop up, suggestions for you. And so more than likely your account is going to pop up, especially if you're in their geographical area, constantly wanting you to get more interactive and wanting you to follow more people and vice versa. So, again, and the more you're posting stuff, the more Twitter is going to want to show your name as, potentially someone to follow for these federal employees that are on Twitter. So even if you don't even have to go out there and find them. That's what Jeff was talking about with inbound marketing. They will find you.
So again, we're gonna be able to personalize it. So have the same theme, but your headshot as well as the area you're in will be in that header section. I think we've already covered some of this, right?
Yeah. I can just read it. I think it's just going to stop.
Lydia's here to say no. Shade my balls? Okay. It's common.
Okay. So we've already, next one's...
We can just keep going through these. We pretty much covered all of this.
The social
LinkedIn.
employee. Yeah, she's not putting on a good presentation.
Okay, so, and Jeff can kind of go over this too, but LinkedIn has been a pretty effective tool for your arena as well. So if you aren't currently on LinkedIn, I highly suggest that you create a personal account, and we can create the Fed Resource business account for you in your local area. And this is just an example of my profile and how to fill it out entirely. So you want to make sure that you optimize your profile as much as you possibly can, filling out as much of it as possible, what you do, what you offer, where you offer it at, and your contact information, all that good stuff. Join groups. And for your market, and Jeff can kind of talk about this, there's just so much on LinkedIn. There's so many groups. There's lots and lots of people in your arena, lots of federal employees. You just want to make sure that your profile is filled out so everyone knows exactly what you do and how you can help them.
Yeah.
The more groups you are and the more you're out there, the better.
Didn't you tell me that you just searched federal employees and on LinkedIn, and there were a lot more than you thought there would be?
Yes. I don't remember exactly what that number was, but I was researching when we first started working on this. I just started typing in keywords like federal employees, Fed employees, and variations of, and I was pretty surprised by how many groups and how many federal employees, not even just groups, but if you go and just search for people, there's lots and lots and lots of government workers that are on LinkedIn. Like an endless amount of your target market is active on LinkedIn.
The one thing about LinkedIn you got to be careful of, and there's some other social media tools same way. Twitter is, as Mandy pointed out, it's an open forum really, but LinkedIn, you got to be careful not to abuse the connection, which means you got to, you need to get referred to somebody or get into a group.
A group, yeah, that's probably the best way to connect with strangers is just getting in groups, similar groups with them.
You don't want to just be sending invites to people that you have no connection with yet, so you got to be careful of that. I will point out, and I don't know if it's on this slideshow, but we actually have a group Fed Resource that we have a couple federal benefit officers that have joined, and we post articles on retirement, and Mandy's posted a couple articles on social media and marketing and why the federal space is important for marketing efforts of financial advisors. And I think if you're not part of the group or have not received an invitation and you're on LinkedIn, send me an email and I'll get you an invite. It's been a good group, and I think we have 65 to 70 actual members already, so it's very interactive.
So this is just an example of, we've been talking about social media and how everyone's on social media, but social media is also dominating the search engines. And this is just an example of how my business appears. As you can see, our social media sites are coming up at the top right below the main website. So, and that's what's happening now. I mean, it's pretty difficult to outrank a Facebook listing or Twitter listing or even LinkedIn in Google, because these search engines just love these social media sites because that's where everyone's at. So they are ranking them in Google. So it's just, it's awesome all around just to have them, let alone to be utilizing them and putting out awesome content regularly. And tweets even show up in search engines. It's pretty neat, especially when your content gets retweeted and whatnot. Twitter does pick up on that, Google. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Do you want me to cover anything else, Jeff?
No, I'd like to take some questions now and just review how you can get involved with our social media for the Fed market, and then also up here is Mandy's contact information. The best way to contact her is Mandy@fedresource.com if you have questions or would like more information on her company. At this point, are there any questions on anything related to social media marketing in your practice that you'd like some help with, or how to get started in the social media marketing with us?
Yes, Jeff?
Yes.
How does this sit with our various compliance officers?
That's a good question. What we have is a template that, and I've dealt with many across the country, both investment advisory firms and broker-dealers. We send our templates in and make sure, this is the key point, that it's communicated to the compliance people, the compliance officers. This is streamlined for everybody that's marketing in the federal space, and that it's educational, that we do not talk about product through the Fed Resource channels. It's all educational, and that seems to be a majority of the time, after we send additional documentation proving that, all that these compliance departments need. Now, we have had a couple that are just hardline, that, everything's got to have their name on it, and disclosure, and but I would say it's less than 10% of those that we've communicated with. Who's your broker-dealer?
FSC.
Okay. I haven't dealt with them, but, we would send in the standard. What I recommend is that you refer me to the compliance person that you're dealing with, or your OSJ, and I'll reach out to them and get them what they need. I know that that's been effective a couple times already so I can help with that if need be.
All right. I had a very difficult time with the audio here, and I've got it over my phone, and I feel like I've missed half of this, but a lot of the stats that you were giving me were either national or international. I don't market on a national or international basis. It's my local area here in Michigan. And
right.
I couldn't quite tell if you were directing or if your program this morning didn't seem to address that as far as, all right, what's the results on a local basis? I mean, I'm not going to drive to San Diego from Michigan or Alaska or anywhere else. It's got to be relatively local for me to be able to deal with it. And I didn't see.
Yeah.
Right. Well, but there's not really local stats out there. It's just the main point of that was that there's billions of people across these social media channels, and a large percentage of that is going to be in every single state. So it's kind of hard, Go ahead.
The best that I could ascertain was that for the demographic that we're looking at, which is effectively people in the late 40s up to retirement, I think that's our target market area, although I'm new to this. It seemed as though Facebook may have, based on what you were telling me, Facebook may have been the biggest venue for those people. Is that correct?
Correct. That is correct. And you bring up a good point, too, with different geographical regions because, different areas are going to have, different areas of the country have different, active users across these channels. So, for example, out here in California, there are a lot more people on Twitter than, say, our clients that are in Georgia, okay, because we have clients nationwide. And so we kind of have to, depending on your geographical region, we kind of have to figure out, where it's going to be more effective and where you should spend most of your time. So you bring up a good point because Facebook, geographically just nationwide, is probably going to be the most effective. Whereas, if you're out on the West Coast, you should be also hitting Twitter pretty constantly too because there's a pretty large Twitter base out here on the West Coast. So yes, you are correct in your comment about Facebook, definitely. Because it's definitely nationwide, across the board, that age group is on Facebook across the nation.
Also, I've resisted using this for a few years because every time I go to our national conference, my question to, as we're kind of networking among ourselves, has anybody got any business off this? And the answer is almost invariably no, but we're putting a lot of money and a lot of time and effort because we think in the future something's going to happen. I haven't seen anything happening yet. And I'm hoping it's different with Fed Resource because these people are actually looking for it.
Right, and, a lot of that happens a lot, but they don't really know what they're doing. They don't really have a strategy. They're just kind of putting it out there,
Mhm. Which is exactly.
Let me make a comment on that because, spending most of my adult life in the financial services world and in practice for 15 years, I can tell you that the insurance companies and the broker-dealers and the investment advisory firms are notoriously 10 years behind. Right. And this is educational. And, look, we're talking about, I don't know what the ultimate stat is, but I think it's close to 3 million federal employees, non-military federal employees. And somebody's going to get to them. And, Mandy pointed out that, what happens on the West Coast eventually happens in Middle America. So,
it's just a matter of time.
What was hot maybe with Facebook 5 years ago, peaked here, and now it's Twitter and other channels, whereas the Midwest is probably more focused on Facebook right now. But here's the other thing I would tell you is that, getting your name out there and doing it is going to put you in a position because the cost to do this is really low. It's going to put you in a position where you're already going to have a brand, and when Twitter starts to take off with these different federal agencies and federal employees, and they accept it. I've seen Twitter feeds now from federal agencies. Really, I think the government may have in the last year just gone through a whole upgrade because we're starting to see much better websites, the social media tool buttons, and accounts have been established for these agencies, which we're on posting all the time. And the challenge that we have, it's hard to track. You got to really you got to really get into the details of figuring out where these different leads are coming from. But we have seen types of inbound marketing. So it's more about creating your brand image on all channels in your area of the country, so that when a federal employee starts thinking about retirement, or they're confused on something, they're getting voicemail with the retirement counselor at their agency, they immediately think of Jeff Rediger. I'm going to call Jeff, and that's what you want, because obviously that's going to put you in the role of the trusted advisor, and then they're going to turn to you and they're going to refer you. Federal employees refer more so than the private sector. They're kind of hard to build a relationship with, but once you do, they'll refer you to everybody if you take care of them. And the best way to communicate with them is say, hey, follow me on Twitter. Here's my Fed Resource website. Follow me on Facebook, and it's just going to pick up the brand image that we want to create for you in your area of the country.
And on that note, I mean, it's kind of what you said about their pouring in lots of money and not seeing results. This is extremely affordable. I mean, this isn't costing you much at all. I mean, it's not like you're spending thousands a month and you're not seeing anything. That's not the case at all. So it's going to be worth it just in the small, setup fee, and just having your brand out there. It's definitely worth the small investment. I mean, it's not like you're throwing thousands at it.
That wasn't my concern at all, Mandy. My concern was time.
Okay.
Gotcha. Money. Yeah, it wasn't an amount of money.
Right.
If that were the case, we wouldn't be spending $2,000 to get involved in this and $35 a lead and everything else. Those are all rather expensive, but obviously we feel that it's worth it. Wow.
Yeah.
Hold on.
So
whatever that. But no, it's just a matter of I don't want to make the mistakes that other people made over that. Major static here.
Yeah, makes sense.
Which
is why, it kind of...
I just don't want to spend time making mistakes that other people have made over the last 5 years.
Yeah, that makes sense, definitely. That's why, it kind of also is just like every digital channel. You set it up and you start marketing, and then you kind of go from there, and based on testing and based on where you're seeing results, you focus there. So you kind of don't, you kind of just have to play it by ear and just look at what's going on, and then focus more time on that particular space instead of just throwing all your time at, stuff that isn't working. So that's where we come in and kind of help you figure all that out.
Super. Thank you.
Yes. Any other questions out there on social media? Glenn, I know you have a question. You joined late, but I know you have to have a question out there. Maybe not. Okay, well, maybe not. All right, we've gone way over our time, but I wanted to make a closing comment. I was thinking, as you were speaking, Mandy, another reason why I think for us, at least in the federal market, it's so important is because here's something that I'm starting to pick up on. I need to do a much better job of it, but it's not just branding us. It's being on the receiving end of real-time information. And what I mean by that is, for example, I'm following the Department of Interior and all the divisions of the Department of Interior that are all on Twitter and LinkedIn. And if there's something in Fish and Game that's been announced, some environmental issue or something that focuses just on the 4,500 Fish and Game employees that we have in our database, we're the first ones to get that information, and sometimes we get it to them before their agency does because maybe they're not following Twitter through their agency. So when you're the first one to give information out to a federal employee, then you become the expert, and you gain credibility, because in the world of the federal employee, it's acronyms and connecting, and I think a lot of you have picked up when you start communicating in their verbiage. For example, FEGLI, versus group life insurance, TSP versus thrift savings plan, they start to realize you know what you're talking about. And I think that's going to build the relationship quicker. So I did want to point that out.
Yeah, no, good. I'm glad that you brought that up because I talked about that on the last call we had, but I didn't bring it up here, that whole real time and the news, and especially for Twitter. I mean, that's, you know, when news stories hits, especially in the federal space, and you have tweeted about it or you put content out there, you're going to show up and people are going to see it. And like Jeff said, you know, he uses Twitter for his news. I mean, lots and lots of people do. So, you know, the more you're doing that, the better. And we are, you know, we're doing a lot of that for you automatically with our tools because Fed Resource, the main brand, is tweeting and keeping up with that news, and it will be posting on your feed as well. So the main Fed Resource brand is going to show up, and yours is too.
Right. So we do have a post. Can you give me the next step? What is the process to work with Mandy? Well, there's two channels here. For those that license the system, the exclusive territory, automatically you get the setup that we just went through. Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook. That's all part of the social media setup package for your federal business. The second channel is, you know, you can contact Mandy to work on your financial planning practice, upgrade your website, set up your social media tools through your financial planning firm, and that's separate from the Fed Resource platform. So depending on what your objective is, you could contact me regarding Fed Resource, and you can contact Mandy through the Fed Resource email account here if you'd like to talk to her about other social media opportunities.
Yeah, if you have any questions or interested in anything, you can just email me, and I can help answer your questions and see where we can go from there and how we can help you out.
Okay, well, I want to thank you, Mandy. I know it's early out here. And again, for those of you in the Fast Start program, as we get closer to wrapping that up for you, then we would start talking about a licensed area and agreement, and the social media will be part of it. But if you do have questions, get a hold of Mandy or myself, and we'll help you out. So the rebroadcast will be available through our YouTube channel, and we'll send that out to everybody. And let us know if you have questions, and have a great presentation.
Thanks.